the terrifying story of the world's largest ship, which disappeared in just 3 hours. But how? Let's find out. The story of Titanic began in 1907, when J. Bruce Ismay, chairman of White Star Line, and Lord Peary, head of Harland and Wolff Shipbuilders, dreamed of building the largest and most luxurious ships ever made. Their goal was 3 grand liners: Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Construction of Titanic started in Belfast in 1909, involving over 15,000 workers. It was designed to be both technically advanced and lavishly luxurious. The ship measured 882 feet in length, 175 feet in height, and weighed 46,000 tons. First-class passengers could enjoy grand staircases, a swimming pool, a gymnasium, Turkish baths, and luxury suites. Third-class passengers, meanwhile, dreamed of a better life in America. Titanic was meant to defy the sea itself, a symbol of human ambition and confidence in technology. On May 31, 1911, Titanic was launched to an awestruck crowd. By April 10, 1912, she left Southampton, bound for New York, carrying millionaires like John Jacob Astor IV, famous philanthropists like Molly Brown, and immigrant families hoping for a new life. The excitement was palpable. Titanic promised luxury, adventure, and the safest voyage ever imagined. Titanic set sail on April 10, 1912, at noon from Southampton. The ship made stops at Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, now Cobh, Ireland, picking up additional passengers. On board, life was a blend of luxury and excitement. First-class passengers dined in grand restaurants, strolled the promenade deck, and attended social events. Third-class passengers shared crowded but hopeful cabins, dreaming of the new world. Crew members worked tirelessly to maintain the enormous vessel. Captain Edward John Smith, a veteran sailor nearing retirement, commanded with confidence. The ship's officers and engineers prided themselves on Titanic's 16 watertight compartments, believing the ship to be virtually unsinkable. Throughout the day of April 14th, Titanic received ice warnings from nearby ships. Captain Smith and his officers monitored the reports but continued at near maximum speed of 22 knots, confident in the ship's engineering. At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet spotted an iceberg dead ahead. He rang the bell and telephoned the bridge. "Iceberg, right ahead!" Despite evasive maneuvers, Titanic's starboard side scraped the iceberg. The collision ripped open 5 of the watertight compartments, one more than the ship could survive. Captain Smith quickly ordered the lifeboats lowered, but Titanic had only 20 lifeboats, enough for about half the passengers. Panic began to spread. Women and children were placed first. Many first-class passengers hesitated, unable to grasp the danger. Third-class passengers were trapped by locked gates separating them from the lifeboats, unaware of the impending disaster. Amid the chaos, Titanic's band, led by Wallace Hartley, played "Nearer, My God, to Thee," trying to calm the frightened passengers. By midnight, water had poured into the forward compartments. Titanic began to tilt downward, her bow slowly sinking. Panic intensified as passengers realized the severity of the situation. At 12:30 a.m., lifeboats were lowered into the icy Atlantic. Many were partially filled due to confusion, class distinctions, and fear. Crew members tried desperately to organize passengers, but chaos ruled the decks. Captain Edward Smith remained on the bridge, accepting his fate. Stories later revealed him calmly giving orders to maintain as much order as possible. Molly Brown, later known as the unsinkable Molly Brown, helped passengers into lifeboats and encouraged others to row away from the sinking ship. Crew members and passengers stayed behind, helping others escape, knowing they might not survive. The ship's band continued to play, sacrificing their safety to calm the panicked crowd. These acts of bravery stand in stark contrast to the tragic loss around them. At 2:20 a.m., the Titanic's stern rose high into the sky before splitting apart, sending the final sections into the freezing water. Over 1,500 people perished, many trapped by the rapid flooding or falling into the freezing sea. Survivors clung to debris, waiting for rescue. The Carpathia, a nearby ship, arrived hours later to save the remaining survivors, who would later recount the chaos, heroism, and heartbreak of the night. The sinking of Titanic sent shockwaves around the world. Newspapers across Europe and America reported the disaster, with headlines screaming the scale of the tragedy. Families of passengers were devastated, some learning of their loved ones' fates days later. Survivors were taken to New York City aboard the Carpathia, where they recounted harrowing tales of survival and loss. The disaster sparked outrage. Why were there not enough lifeboats? Survivors told of class discrimination, as many third-class passengers were unable to reach the upper decks in time. Captain Smith went down with the ship, fulfilling the maritime tradition of "the captain goes last." Crew members stayed behind to help passengers escape, often at the cost of their own lives. Survivors like Molly Brown became symbols of courage and determination. Investigations were launched in both the United States and the United Kingdom. The U.S. Senate inquiry, led by Senator William Alden Smith, questioned surviving crew and passengers. The British Board of Trade inquiry investigated Harland and Wolff and White Star Line practices. Findings highlighted failures in ship design, insufficient lifeboats, and poor emergency procedures. Both inquiries recommended changes to maritime safety laws, including lifeboat requirements for all passengers, 24-hour radio watch on ships, iceberg patrols. The Titanic disaster forever changed maritime regulations, emphasizing safety over luxury and ambition. The sinking of the Titanic remains one of the most studied maritime disasters in history. More than 1,500 lives were lost, proving that even the most advanced engineering cannot overcome human error, arrogance, or underestimation of nature. Never overestimate unsinkable claims. Titanic's 16 watertight compartments gave a false sense of security. Safety regulations must prioritize all passengers, not just first class. Preparedness and communication save lives. The lack of enough lifeboats and delayed distress signals contributed to massive loss of life. Titanic has remained in the public imagination for over a century. Books, films, documentaries, and museum exhibitions tell its story. Artifacts recovered from the wreckage offer tangible connections to the past, reminding us of the human stories behind the tragedy. Heroes like Wallace Hartley and his band, Molly Brown, and countless crew members are remembered for their courage. Survivors' accounts reveal not only the panic and tragedy, but also the resilience and heroism of ordinary people. In 1985, the Titanic wreck was discovered by Robert Ballard in the North Atlantic, nearly 73 years after it sank. The discovery revealed the ship's broken bow and stern, confirming survivor reports and providing a wealth of historical and scientific information. Explorations of the wreck continue to this day, uncovering artifacts, personal items, and the scale of the disaster, keeping the story alive for new generations. The Titanic disaster remains a powerful reminder. Ambition and luxury cannot replace caution and preparation. It teaches that even the greatest achievements are vulnerable to nature, chance, and human oversight. As we look back on Titanic, we remember not just the ship, but the lives, courage, and lessons it left behind. Over a century later, the story still captivates the world, a timeless symbol of human triumph, error, and enduring fascination.